Good morning and welcome back to Gaming with ADHD. It has been well north of a month since we've last done a painting stream, but I'm trying, I took time off. I got some rest, sort of. I took a trip. Um, I need to get back in the swing of things, folks. I'm sorry. I trust me when I say I haven't abandoned you. I'm just really bad at this. That's all it is. But yeah, so today I'm going to try and start theming the Friday show. I have a whole crap ton of combat patrol. Well, okay, I don't have a whole crap ton yet. I don't have but I've got a bunch of combat patrol stuff from the magazine subscription. And so I'm just going to start dedicating Fridays to working on that. I'm also going to take a little bit of different approach, and we'll get into that in a second. So I think it's going to be an interesting way of going about it. But we'll see how that works. If you guys like it, we can keep going. We'll try some different things. Hopefully starting next week, we will get back into just kind of the regular painting stream where it's kind of a little bit more free form as far as what I'm wanting to paint, but we will play around with it and we will have some fun. So before we get started, do make sure, especially if you're new here, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. I do try to put out a few videos each week covering all sorts of tabletop gaming content. In addition, like this, we've got live streams, we're doing our Battletech deep dive, all sorts of content if you'd like to come along and share with us. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, so this I'm gonna start off by showing this. So this is my combat patrol binder. I kind of showed it off in the last combat patrol video. Basically, they give you this to take all of the magazine content and have a way to store it, as opposed to just like having a bunch of random magazines. In addition, they do design the magazines to actually tear apart, and then they give you all of these dividers. So build, paint, read, collect, and play. And so I finally made the decision that for painting, I'm going to follow the instructions. Okay. What's up? You're wrong. Trench Crusade. That, I don't know. Everyone says it's kind of interesting, but I think I'm going to stick with Games Workshop for my Grimdark. I will be honest, Grimdark, and I struggle with Grimdark at times, but I'm not opposed to it. I'm trying to keep myself from jumping into a lot of new projects, because I have plenty of projects that I still haven't finished. So, with that said, actually, let me turn that off. I don't need that right now. Okay, so, what I'm going to try is, like I said, following the instructions. Morning, Mundo. A lot of this is going to be kind of basics, but I want to try something. Just because of the fact that, like, I've kind of set a painting style, and I don't necessarily try a lot different. Now, I have a feeling that a lot of this is going to be fairly basic, but I figure it would be interesting to at least try it. Definitely for future combat patrols, I may not follow the specific instructions, but at least for the Space Marines and Tyranids, partly because they're also including the paint, I want to use it. I don't want to just like put the paint up on the shelf and just leave it there. So basically we're gonna follow the official steps. And slightly modified, but because like I've primed my miniatures. These instructions say nothing about priming. But we're gonna go through and I'm gonna actually have the instructions and follow them along. We'll see how well they come out. Could be that like maybe I can improve on them. Maybe they can help me improve my own skills. There is something to be said for getting back to basics. So, with that said, good morning, Malachi. Any questions about that? Any of you think that I'm an idiot for trying to do it this way? Comments are accepted. All right. So, got all the models moved around. Probably should have done that earlier. I've got my painting handles. It ain't too bad, Dr. Death, and good morning, sir. It is a whopping 80 degrees right now at almost 10 a.m. So that's not too bad for Arizona. Okay, well, Mundo, why should you or should you not keep up the Combat Patrol magazine subscription? All right, so I'm going to come up. Let's come up with a couple reasons why to do it. Number one, if you like Warhammer miniatures, you're going to get a big variety of stuff. It's 9 different combat patrols. Yes, you get a Chaos Space Marine and good morning, Six World. And I know you would call in just to watch this stream. I know it. You can, let's see. So I think like, okay, let me, squirrels everywhere. All right. First thing is undercoat your Space Marine captain using McCrag Blue. By the way, I took all of my paints and I moved them into dropper bottles because I hate Games Workshop paint pots. Just throwing that out there. All right, let me get back to putting thoughts together. So, I think one of the bigger downsides is that there's like Chaos Space Marines and World Eaters, which I mean it's 2 Chaos armies out of 9 different combat patrols, so it's not too bad. Where did I put my water dropper? Oh, there it is. So if you want a variety of combat patrols, if the combat patrol style of game is something that you enjoy, then I would absolutely recommend sticking with it. Because especially I didn't sand the bases of all the models yet because I'm dumb. Anyways, so like Games Workshop doesn't put anything on sale, but you end up with about a 20% discount, 20 to 30% discount across the board. So like it's not bad in that regard. It's not a huge discount. Different sales at your local shop, buying used models or models from people that change their mind. Those can always be ways to save money. So there's that. Now, why you should not keep doing combat patrol is if you don't care. Like, okay, so someone like you, Mundo, I know that you will play around with a bunch of different armies. But like right now, like we'll use my son as an example. He's collecting 1,000 Suns. Honestly, he doesn't give a crap really about anything but 1,000 Suns. It's all he wants to collect. It's all he wants to play right now. So something like this is not a good choice for him. If you're just wanting one army, this really isn't for you. Now, the last time they did the subscription, it was like Space Marines and Necrons. So if you want just like 2 big armies, great. But if you don't like that, well, again, if that's obviously not an option right now. So, anyways, those are essentially that's the long and short of why or why not to do this particular program. I didn't mind. My ADHD tosses me all around as far as what I'm interested in. I thought this would be an interesting project for the channel. So for me, it was kind of a no-brainer. But at the end of the day, you really have to look at it for yourself. Anyways, Six World, yes, he has seen the new stuff coming for 1,000 Suns. He's very excited. We both like the Sectar robots. I think it's going to be interesting. I was a little disappointed with the Death Guard release because my other son, who's interested in this, has Death Guard, so he gets like a new model, and that was it. And people yell at me when the model's not in the camera. Apparently, I was supposed to not glue the captain to the base so that I could get underneath him to paint, but oh well. I use model cement, so he's permanent. And hey, nerds, what's up? So, actually, here's an argument for you, Mundo. I know that you kind of jump around with a bunch of different armies. Like me, I like the idea of combat patrols. It's a bunch of little armies. They're fixed. You don't have to worry about, oh, am I going to get this one or am I going to get that one? Nope. Just play the models that you have that you're allowed. Um Professional. How dare you insult me, Malachi? So maybe in your case it would be fun to have just a bunch of different combat patrols just to try out different things and then decide later on if you want to expand on those particular armies. Do you want to bring it up to a full 2,000 points? Do you want to just leave it at combat patrol size? Like in your case, that's what I would be looking at. Actually, let's hold him off for a minute. So, anyhow, those would be my arguments for and against sticking with combat patrol. Oh, and the biggest one, if you can't afford it. If you can't afford it, don't buy it. I won't think less of you. Anyhow, ask me questions, people. It's been like a month since we did one of these. So ask me questions. What do you want to know about what I've been up to? I will give you a hint. I didn't go to England yet. I am going though. That's in September. I get to see our for the Eldar. The Eldar is the current combat patrol. So they are quote unquote more modern models, but it's not the new it's not the new aspect warriors. We did I see Mickey? Oh yeah, no, we saw Mickey Mouse plenty because we went on a cruise and we got to go to Disney World. Thank you. You know who you are. But yes, we did see Mickey. Didn't hang out with Mickey, just saw him. And for the record, it's saying to apply 3 thin coats, but it's also telling you to paint on bare plastic without primer, so I might be able to get away with like 2 coats. I really should have put sand on these bases. Oh, I'm annoyed. Dr. Death. What is my favorite Warhammer miniature? Ooh. I think I would have to say that it's I'm gonna say the Land Raider. Not the original one, the one that came out in like the early 2000s. It kind of defined the Space Marine look from there moving forward. They redid the rhinos based on it, which then redid the Predators, which redid everything on that rhino chassis. That actually then influenced like Sisters of Battle because they run rhinos and a couple rhino variants. Also, it's just a really, really big, mean tank. So I'm going to say that for my favorite miniature. Malachi, you can have the popcorn bowl if you manage to A, find my house, and B, take it from me. And since I don't think either of those are happening, actually, it could. It could. You might still have my address, depending on if you still have that box for the miniature that I sent you. If you don't, oh well, you missed out. Yeah, that was like I will admit some of the things that Disney has been able to just monetize into collectibles. Like pin trading. Pin trading is ridiculous. Like it's pins. And why would I buy pins that I then have to trade for other pins? Why don't I just buy the pins that I want? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But apparently, they've been doing it for 25 years now. So good on you. You took pins and monetized the heck out of it. The popcorn bucket that Malachi mentioned. Actually, I'm going to show it off because I can. It makes me laugh. Oh, I'm going to have to zoom out for this. All right. So this is the popcorn bucket. It actually has like a little lanyard to hold on to it with, or like to put it around your shoulder, but there's a button on the bottom and one press. Actually, here, this should help. There you go. Okay, so you can kind of see the lighting, around it. Now, if you press it again, let me move the microphone a little closer. And I'm going to rotate it. So if you notice, I may or may not have shot Peanut Gallery with this like 4 times in the park. Dr. Death, I picked that up at Disney World. They which apparently they had like this whole mess of stuff that they were doing for um uh for Star Wars. Um and let's just say that we were walking around, or we were about to leave Star Wars Land, and we saw some people with the popcorn bucket, and we're like, well, we need that. And so we went and got it. It's ridiculous. And it's so much fun. And at this point, I mean, it's just sitting on the shelf, which is fine. But yeah, popcorn buckets. Like, Disney's turned popcorn buckets into like a massive collectible. Oh, forgot to zoom back in. Like, it's straight up ridiculous. But it was fun. It was a little bit of a pain to carry around the park. Because it's a giant ball. It's just like, the popcorn was decent too, because you did get you get a free order of popcorn. And so we got the popcorn in Star Wars Land. Oh, I was a little disappointed. So we wanted to go see Star Wars Land because we've been at Disneyland. But we were at Disney World, so it's like, oh, let's see if it's any different. Star Wars Land is straight up a carbon copy, like almost like to a T. Like, they have to change up like the entrance in the like the two entrances into the area are slightly different. But like, we walked in and I knew exactly where everything was. It's like, oh, that shop's over there. That shop's over there. You can get food over there. You can go build a custom lightsaber over there. Like, everything. Was identical. And if you ask me, that was such a missed opportunity. Like do us like, you can have the same quote unquote shops, you can have the same rides. That's fine. But come on, you're Disney. Like give us a quote unquote different planet. Sorry, I'm getting paint all over the pages, so I'm going to take the pages out to try and minimize that. And also minimize how much paint I get on the folder. I need... It's like, I can totally 3D print this, but I need like a... I need like a music stand. That's like the best way to describe it. So yeah, so it was actually a little disappointing that Star Wars was identical. Like, they could have easily done it like a different planet. Still again, have the same rides. Obviously, that's where the more expensive engineering is. But like, changing up the planet and doing some different decorations. Obviously you want to have the Millennium Falcon. That's like the big centerpiece. But put some different ships around. Have the Millennium Falcon and X-Wing, but then do some different stuff. But it was exactly the same. So that was a little disappointed. Stephen Cross, good morning, sir. I was thinking about you this morning. Mostly because we're starting to prep our plans. I will be in contact with you. How are you, my friend? Anyways, so that was good. We enjoyed ourselves. We are extremely grateful to those that helped us make the trip possible. Oh, actually, you know what? I can talk about that some more. Disney World. Okay. Hey, Curtis. Yeah, like everyone here. Man, I should like stream on Friday mornings more often. Dude, Six World, I don't know what you're talking about. Like my Warhammer store, like literally posted on Facebook. They're like, "Hey, if you need Emperor's Children, got some Emperor's Children. You should buy Emperor's Children." Actually, dude, ping me. I'll go down to the store and I'll tell you what they have. Obviously, it'll cost you a little bit in shipping, but I mean, if it's a shorter wait. Just saying. So we went to Hollywood Studios because we'd never been there, and we went to Magic Kingdom because we wanted to hit our favorite rides. We had one day at the park. We didn't spend a whole lot of time at Disney World. We had one day because of a very generous friend who we are extremely grateful for. And anyways, so we went. Hollywood Studios was fine. It's a little small. We didn't get to hit a lot. Weather, breakdowns, time. I wouldn't mind going back and like doing the stuff that we missed though. Yeah, dude, let me know. What else did we? Oh, that was another one. We did. Okay, I love Star Tours. I've always loved Star Tours. I love Star Tours even more. Now that they put in like variable stories. So if you haven't been, say, in the last 10 years, I don't know when exactly they updated it, but when it first came out, it was one ride. It was the exact same ride every single time. And that was fine. But eventually they changed it. So you get in and it randomly selects basically two parts. So you'll go to two planets, and it's a different sequence each time. And when you start, like either you're going to be chased by Kylo Ren or you're going to be chased by Darth Vader. I think there's some other Wait, no, I think it's just those two. Um, but lately, all I can think of is that all I'd seen was Kylo Ren, and it was all like Disney trilogy stuff. But this time we went on Star Tours, like I said, because I love Star Tours. So first off, instead of Kylo Ren, we get Darth Vader. Okay. So basically it's like you're getting in this little, quote unquote airline, Star Wars airliner, and Darth Vader comes out. He's like, "Rah! We're gonna get the rebel spy," and he like uses the Force and like throws the ship around. Anyways, it's kind of fun. Um, and um, and so then you take off and you go like, and then the first planet we went to was um was Hoth. And so it's basically like the battle for Hoth, snow speeders all over the place. You're taking down AT-ATs, the whole 9 yards. It was great. But then the second sequence I have never seen before. But it was the second Death Star. And like you are full on invading the Death Star to blow it up. Oh my gosh, it was great. I have never seen that sequence before. I was giggling like a schoolgirl. 100% worth it. Yeah, I think they updated it like a decade ago, Six World, to like put in that new sequence thing. But this was the first time that I'd seen Darth Vader and gone to the Death Star. So I'm cool with it. Anyways, we liked that. Met up with another friend and had dinner or brunch, lunch, early dinner, whatever you want to call it, at a restaurant there at Hollywood Studios. Um, Anyways, so that was great. After that, we decided to go over to Magic Kingdom, which is quote unquote Disneyland. Because we hadn't really gotten to see it when we went like 8 years ago. So we went to um we went over to Magic Kingdom and we actually just decided that we wanted to do like our favorites. So we wanted to do Pirates, we wanted to do Haunted Mansion, and we wanted to do Space Mountain. Those were kind of like the must-dos for us. We got to do all those. My opinion is Pirates is better at Disneyland. I think it is longer and there's more to it. Disney World just felt incomplete. So I was a little frustrated. Haunted Mansion, I think, is better at Disney World. That one seems a little bit longer. Has some slightly better sequences. Although it is kind of funny because Haunted Mansion at Disneyland, the opening sequence drops you in an elevator down. But in Florida, because their water table is, a foot in the ground or foot underground, like the the entry hall stretches up instead of down. And it was kind of funny because like we only figured it out because they couldn't get the door closed before the sequence started. And so the room, like, because you're supposed to go in the room and then it stretches, um, it it stretches as the elevator goes down. But in this case, well, the elevators or the room is stretching up, and the initial room before you get on the elevator is still there, so you're clearly not going down. Anyways, it was pretty funny. Um, but overall, we liked the sequence better. Um, something about it just like overall, it just seemed better than the Disneyland one, although we still like the Disneyland one. Also, it was our first time seeing like the original Haunted Mansion and not, you know, Nightmare Before Christmas Haunted Mansion that we've seemed to have run into the last few times that we've gone to Disneyland. Um anyway, so we did that. Um Space Mountain. I think Space Mountain at Disney World is actually more intense than Space Mountain at Disneyland. Um like I don't know. I think I'm just not a thrill seeker. Because I was like, and actually, like Space Mountain. So if you've never ridden it before, it's a roller coaster in the dark. Like occasionally, like there's some lights, like some flashing lights, but for all intents and purposes, that room is black. And um you don't see anything. And I'm always terrified that I'm gonna my head's gonna hit the track or something, and blah, Brian's dead. Don't ask me why. It's just what I think is going to happen. So I like the ride, but I'm always a bit paranoid on the ride. Um, what are we gonna do? So we like that one. Um, then so we had that, we got those done. We still had, I think we still had a couple hours. Um, and so we were right next to the Tron ride, which they'd originally done in um Shanghai Disney. And so we decided to give it a try. The crazy thing about that, so essentially it's Tron light cycles. Um and it's and so you're actually like riding a crotch rocket, so you're leaning forward. Yeah, basically you're on this roller coaster going head first. Um which that is an experience, and I actually very much compared it to Space Mountain. It wasn't exactly the same, but it was very, very close. It was fairly dark inside. There were a lot more lights, but like where in a normal roller coaster you're prepared to, to just like sit in a car or in a normal seat and, have the regular perspective. This hunched over, you know, crotch rocket kind of feel was different. Um that was interesting. Biggest complaint, which apparently is everyone's complaint, is that it was way too short. Um Like I swear we were done in like a minute. Whereas like say Space Mountain, you get like 3 minutes. So that's fine. But yeah, so minute was really short. Um, but it is very much a different experience. Um, but after that, um, yeah, everything that I've read on Line 6 World says that that's like the complaint. Everyone loves it otherwise. Like just, just like double the length. Give me a 2-minute ride. I don't know. Maybe it's something with the way that you're sitting. Maybe a longer ride would actually suck. I don't know, but the bigger problem is that you've got a long wait and then it's a super short ride. So, but it's a cool one. It ain't long enough, but it was fun. It is what she said, Malachi. It is. Um, but yeah, it is because also like um to start the coaster, yeah, like the old school traditional coasters, take you up the top of a hill, but it's like slow plodding, clunk, 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 all the way up. Whereas on Tron, and I'm sure other coasters have done it, but I don't really go to thrill parks, so don't quote me on it. Um, it launches you like basically like you're sitting in a rail gun and boom, they fire you out the cannon. Um, and yeah, like again, laying down face first, totally different experience. But it was fun. Um, but then beyond that, um, we went or I took Kim on Goofy's Barnstormers, which is kind of like a little kiddie coaster. So it's got some heft to it, but it's small. It's designed for the littler kids. It's a light thrill. Um, but Kim loves Goofy, so we did that. Um, and then we also did the many adventures of Winnie the Pooh because she also loves Winnie the Pooh. But that's really all we did for rides. Um, but it was fun. Oh, craziest thing. Um, so on the cruise that we did, and I was not ready for this. Um, I swear, like, and I actually I had another passenger confirm this to or mention this to me, and I'm going to agree with him. You could have easily filled an entire deck of the ship with just Brazilians. Um, I was not ready for or expecting that. Like, I had to kind of like mind my own business because, like, every time I'm turning around, I'm hearing somebody speak Portuguese. And I don't speak Portuguese anywhere near as often as I should. Um, and so to not take advantage of like every opportunity was like super frustrating. I would, and I felt a little bad for Kim because I would just start chit-chatting in Portuguese, and whoever I was speaking to would expect her to jump in. She's like, I got nothing. She's like, that's it. He's the only one that speaks Portuguese here. So it was kind of funny. But so I actually got to talk to just some Brazilian passengers, which was fun. I had some fun conversations like, oh, where are you from? Is this your first cruise? Kind of things like that. I mean, it's just small talk. But everybody said I spoke very good Portuguese, or spoke Portuguese very well. My mommy would be so proud. But it was a lot of fun. I had so much fun with it. But actually, the one thing I did think that was like super cool. So so there's also a ton of Brazilian staff on the cruise ship. And everybody at Disney on their name tag, it's got their name and it has where they're from. Now, like, if they're an American, it's going to have like city and state. If they're overseas, it'll just be like Philippines or Brazil or whatever. Anyways, so I kind of got in the habit when we did the cruise a couple years ago, basically just looking at all the name tags and where's somebody from Brazil. But this time around, I noticed something a little different, which was really interesting. Tommy! Thank you, sir. I'm glad they didn't eat me too. Although Kim did want to get out of the tour tram and go pet them, but that's a story I'll tell here in just a second. So like anytime that I saw Brazilians, like that always kind of looked serious. Just like, just doing my job, whatever. Okay, let's do this. Like, make food, clean this, sell that. You know, and because I saw them everywhere, they were food service, they were, retail shops, they were, um, maintenance. You know, I literally saw them everywhere on the ship. They weren't just like housekeeping is usually like Spanish speaking, so Chile, Venezuela, whatever. Or Indian, Malaysian, Indonesian, usually those. Wait staff at the restaurant is usually like Indian or Bangladesh or Philippines, things like that. But like I said, saw Brazilians everywhere. And usually just had some kind of like serious face on, which is fine. They're working. I get it. Just doing the job. You're on a cruise ship, so you're probably dealing with some entitled turd that, is just going to make you have a miserable day or whatever. And, but me being me and wanting to speak Portuguese, if I ever saw a name tag with Brazil on it, I always said hello to them in Portuguese, which is very simple. You just say tudo bem. And so that's all you did. Just say tudo bem. How's it going? Was everything okay? Whatever. And almost without fail, as soon as I would say that, their entire face would change. Like, here. Just give you an example. Like, just kind of like this. Just doing whatever they're doing. And I just come up, oi, to the bang. And suddenly it's just like their face just lights up. And they're like, oh, to the bong. Um and I just start like a little chit chat conversation. It's like, oh, where are you from in Brazil? And saw people from all over. So the Nordeste, the Northeast. Oh, I'm from Rio Grande do Sul, which is like super south. Whatever. Just start a little, conversation. Oh, how long you been out? Whatever. But they always just seemed a little happier that someone spoke Portuguese to them. I don't know if they would do the same with Brazilians on the ship. I mean, like the Brazilian passengers. At least that's how they reacted with me, and it was cool. I hope they would have a better day because of it. Not saying that I'm like, God's gift to socializing or mental well-being or whatnot. But it was nice. So that was probably my favorite thing on the cruise. Just to quote unquote keep it a little simple. Then we had we stopped in Nassau in the Bahamas. We got to go to the Nassau Pirate Museum, which was good. It was simple. It was like $15. Mostly replicas as opposed to like actual pirate artifacts. We but what was in our I think actually what ended up being probably my favorite thing in the Bahamas was at the dock. They actually had, again, this tiny little museum. Like, we're talking like 2 rooms museum. But it was the Museum of Junkanu. Which basically is, if from my understanding, is a festival usually around Christmas time, because around Christmas the slave owners would give 3 days off and kind of let the slaves do whatever. And so they started, you know, doing these big parties and wearing masks, because the masks would let you be a free person. It's, you could be who you wanted to be as opposed to being a slave. And so when I saw it, it looks very much like a Brazilian carnival. Probably a little simpler. But very much a similar style, but definitely a different style because it's Bahamas versus Brazil. And they didn't take you, Curtis. Rude. That's okay. You need to work anyways. Anyways, but it was fun. It was fun to watch the music. Because like the first room was like, okay, this is how Junkanoo costumes are made. This is, why they're made, et cetera, et cetera. And then you go into another room that they've got like video screens, showing off a parade. I don't know how recent it was, but it was, showing off what a parade in progress looks like. It was like $10. It's like, that's fine. So it ended up being nice because so one of the things with cruises, you go on excursions. Okay, you get off the boat. What's something to go do? And so we were supposed to go on the James Bond in the Caribbean excursion. But that got canceled the day we got on the boat. So we didn't get to go do that. But that would have been like $150 a person. But our little excursion on our own was like $100 total. So, and we basically didn't even really leave the dock area. Like, I mean, we were literally just like within like visual range of the boat the whole time. It's kind of funny. But it was fun. Got to see a bunch of stuff we don't normally see. The only other stop was this everybody just calls it an island because it's easier to think about it, but it's actually like an a populated island. Like Disney has one, which is like Disney's the only person that the only people that use it. But they have a second one that is essentially just like a peninsula at the end of an island. But everybody just calls it an island anyways. It's not, but it's just easier. Anyhow, but that was actually kind of cool because like, so it was the ocean. It was a little bit cooler than like, an 80-degree swimming pool, but the water was like glass. Like the waves were like super chill. So it's like you ain't body surfing on it, you ain't doing anything. It's just like, chill and relax. Kim had brought a mask and snorkel, and so I actually went out with it and was swimming around, and I saw some giant fish. I don't know what it was. My brain wants to keep calling it a barracuda. I don't think it was a barracuda. The short answer is it didn't try to eat me. And did you die? I didn't die. No, that because it wasn't a barracuda. That's the thing. I just don't know what it was. Whoa. Anyways, but seriously, it was like a 2 to 3 foot long fish. And he was just swimming and chilling. He side-eyed me. Yeah. Other than that, we just hung out on the boat. I did get to see the new Captain America and the Thunderbolts. That's what it was. I got to see both of those for free. Neither one was horrible. Neither one was great. I did think Thunderbolts was better than Captain America, though. We could have seen Snow White. We chose not to. You would have to pay me, Captain America. Again, it wasn't horrible. Could have been way better, but it could have been way worse. I like the Red Hulk appearance. That was fun. Anyways, so there's that. All right, so this is what I've gotten accomplished. Let me just slide these over. All right, so I've gotten the Marines base with the first base coat. I'm gonna have to come back and do more base coat. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention we also saw Mufasa. That sucked. That was not good. Man, that was so not good. Anyways, I got a first layer of base coat on the Marines. I don't think it's going to need 3, but it definitely could use another one. There's some thin spots. So going over with another thin layer will be good. For the Tyranids, I've got 3 Von Ryan Leapers and the Winged Tyranid Prime with their first layer. They're definitely going to need a second layer, possibly a third. I'm actually going to pause here because it is almost 11 and I haven't gone to bed yet. But I wanted to do this. Thunderbolts was entertaining. It didn't have a great ending. That was my complaint there. So Mundo, I think you missed the opening. I've decided that I'm going to follow the instructions that came with the magazine. Partly, get back to basics kind of thing. So for right now, it says, okay, put on a base coat. For the Space Marines, it's the Macragge Blue. For the Tyranids, it's Wraithbone. Wraithbone? Just Wraithbone? Yes, just Wraithbone. So that's essentially what I'm starting with. Then next up, it'll have some burgundy to go in different spots. So it shows you, okay, this is where you should be for your work in progress, things like that. So I know that these are very basic techniques, but part of why I want to do it this way, just to repeat myself, I want to put it back to the basics. I want to see if I end up changing my painting style by going back to the beginning. I have done things a little bit different, like, I primed these models instead of just painting on the bare plastic. A lot of them have sand on them already for, making the bases look fancier. I need to do it on, some of the others, but that's a different issue. So yeah, like I don't even have contrast paints yet. I'm literally just using the paints, that they provide with the Combat Patrol subscription. So we'll see. I mean, it could end up being that they suck. It could end up being that they look great. I don't know. I'm going to experiment and we'll see what comes out with it. So, all right. On that note, I know it's a little bit of a shorter stream, but I want to get some sleep because I do still have to go out for date night. So, with that said, thanks for being here. Glad you all haven't abandoned me. Definitely, if you've got any comments, Mundo, your comments are always welcome, even if I say that I'm going to do something different. So if you do have suggestions, if you want me to try something a little bit different, feel free, put that in the comments. Let me know. Otherwise, look for some more videos, more streams. And I'm hoping I will get better at being more regular with all of this. So thanks for watching, everybody, and we will talk to you next time. Thanks for hanging out. Bye.